start and try some. Normally I'm not so drawn to reading long letters. Because I often find that I just get lost in the middle of them. I don't know. Too many things are said and there's no focus, and it's just kind of normally a ranting over personal in a way, or some kind of very much too sophisticated or something. So normally I'm not so much attracted to them. Dear Mooji, thank you for addressing my question. Your answer that when you know who you are and when you have heard as well, you cannot be possessed. Yes, the mind did play with me a bit, but also I still don't know who I am. It is not yet my experience. I listen to what you and others say we are, but it's not yet me. What should I do differently? Love, 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 Anna. Yes, I said last week, I believe, that you yourself, what is true, you, the self, cannot be possessed. It is not available for possession. What can be possessed is an aspect of the mind that's playing as identity or something like that. That somehow gets influenced by so many different voices. Orientations internally, and then you can say, in fact, every kind of influence is a little bit of a possession, you can say, if you want to go like this. But or something like this. And we say that if you, for a very long time, have created in some way a very strong relationship, either consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, with certain kind of negative energies or thoughts, that at some point they can seem to act independent of you. And to some extent, sometimes we are so caught up in certain ways of thinking that are not in service to the truth. And that your thinking can manifest externally to your form. It can become an actual scenario, can get acted out, that is coming from your own thinking, consciously or subconsciously. And I see it in a good way, in that it shows that it gives you a chance to look at greater distance and to recognize that it is just a phenomenon very often. But the sense of being taken over by some force must come only when your consciousness is functioning in such a weak way, and that stronger influences that are cultivated internally, they come to the surface and they have a sense that you're not able to control your projections anymore. Now you say, yes, the mind did play with me a bit, but also I still don't know who I am. And this not knowing who you are, maybe you sit over there, we're going to eat for a bit on this side. I still don't know who I am, meaning what? Actually, you cannot know who you are like you know other things. You cannot know who you are like, I know I'm a mechanic or something, or I know I'm a yoga teacher or something. You cannot know who you are in that way. So this sense of knowing what you are is not a kind of phenomenal knowledge, not something that happens in your head. It simply means that this knowing and being are the same thing. They're not different. So it's not a collected knowledge, it's not informational. It is like somehow you're knowing what you cannot not be. You're knowing that everything that you perceive is momentary, fleeting, you see. But that which knows all this, it cannot be known independent of itself. It is it that knows itself. This is what it means. So don't worry if you find your mind trying to do something like know what I am. So even the mind's attempt to kind of know you is also perceived in the consciousness that you already are. This is all that it means. Beloved and beautiful Mooji, my head at your feet, my ears in your head, and my heart in yours. I am asking you, who are often speaking with a lot of humor, can you tell a little bit about the subject of laughing? Oh, I don't know. Can you put this, cover this maybe for me? Can I talk about the subject of laughing? I don't know. Huh?
Love.
Of laughing.
Laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, I am working as a laughter yoga therapist, okay. And then in brackets says no joke. Also as a conversation and family therapist with lots of people who are in need. Laughing with people has a certain quality. Laughing can be used as a tool. In fact, could you please explain laughter as a phenomenon? Or is it indeed the voice of the eternal self? Well, one thing is good about laughing is that when you're laughing, you cannot think. And so, actually, laughter became a sort of a little bit of a sort of image of a kind of freedom. You see? And we ourselves sometimes we engage and invite people to participate in a laughing yoga program. And this really helps a lot. Sometimes when people are coming to Satsang, for the first time they come here or in a retreat, we invite them, you must in fact I say it's a requirement now, that you do a bit of laughing yoga to free up your energies a little bit, especially good for people who think a lot. It's good to do laughing yoga, and we say also, even you laugh naturally or even unnaturally, it doesn't matter. You see? But something makes an effort, and soon somehow you get caught into the vibes of this and you find that laughter is coming. And it's also a lot of expression, lots of very dynamic laughing or something. And it sort of burps out a lot of stale energies, a lot of suppressed energies, and things that sometimes you're not aware that you have absorbed somehow in our day-to-day life. Sometimes somehow gets emptied out in a very beautiful way. And then you find very often when people come to satsang after this, that itself I have to say is also a satsang. When people come to the satsang that you have just experienced like this, you've been experiencing, then something is much more available, more open, more relaxed. And when you come to a place of stillness, if there anything remaining to be detected, it comes very easily up to the surface. It's seen much more easily. And you're much more in a sense in a state of harmony like that. So can you tell a little bit about the subject of love? That's as much as I can say about it. As you come home again to your own natural state, you find laughing is taking place very spontaneously, without the need for a joke, without needing to see any particular thing funny. Somehow laughing is coming. Sometimes crying also. There's a crying which is not different from laughing. They have no subject in them. It's not about anything. It's just a very pure expression that arises from the self, from the self. This laughter, this joy, like this. And even sometimes outside you may look where, but inside a kind of nice laughter is there, nice joy is there. Is this the same person? This is the second part, it does start like that. In August, even my body and mind were physically present in Sahaja Satsangs. What a deep gratitude for this experience. Good. 2 questions. In the state of consciousness, being, there is only formlessness, timelessness, space, and balance. And manifestation is leaving this balance. Manifestation is leaving this balance. Okay. So there must be a first action getting out of this balance. What makes this action happen? And what is this action? Motivation, or why action starts? We should not be concerned about these things. We don't have to worry about all these things. Actions, inactions, reactions, interactions don't matter. They are just the dance of life. As you become aware as that observing presence, you simply observe, but not interpreting, not reacting. Everything is simply just it. When life is observed from a place of the beingness, the functioning of perception is not claustrophobic. Everything moves away, and there's more space, more detachment. Things are not felt to be crushing, or sort of no agitation is there. So we don't have to work these things. And even if there is a kind of imbalance or a sense of disharmony, you automatically know that this play of imbalance or disharmony is sitting inside the great harmony. In the great harmony, there's room even for the play of disharmony. But even a sense of imbalance or out of balance, these things are not anything to be disturbed about. Because life is experienced in its full range of interrelated opposites and their play. And nothing, you are doing nothing at all. Just sweetly enjoying. And action is already kind of concentrated or focused. So how can going in action and staying in the state of consciousness really be brought together? I'm not bringing anything together. It's already together. To bring something together is the most ridiculous job, because then you have to keep them together. And you cannot do any action in the physical universe and keep it the same. So if there's an in, there will be an out. If there's an up, there's going to be a down. You see. And something just spontaneously, automatically knows this. Spontaneously this is known. So there's no bringing together. If I start to tell you about how to bring things together, I impart to you a great hardship that you cannot do, and I don't want to do this. There's no need for it. We have enough hardship already. If you're living in the state of ego, I mean, my God, that is a very heavy-duty state. So why to give you even more heavy-duty things to do? Because the ego is attracted to heavy-duty things, to all these vain imaginings and so on. So relax a little bit. Then love from Miriam in Zurich, Switzerland. Excuse the rough English. That's okay. So nothing to do there. Dear one, at 72, I had to go back to work. Wow. I choose to work as a substitute teacher. I often feel very strong aversion to the students' behavior. Papaji told us that if something constantly disturbs the mind, we should put it down. Should I use this situation to notice and deal with aversion in myself? Or is it better to find work where there is more opportunity to cultivate sattvic mind? In gratitude and love, Bodhi. So Bodhi has to sit under the Bodhi tree of your own self. Bodhi has to sit under the Bodhi tree of your own self. Because sometimes people feel that they are in situations which are very painful or disturbing to them. But they say, yeah, but I have to stay because, I have to learn to be more patient. You see, because it teaches me to be more patient and to more enduring, you see, like this. I said, yes, but if you're living with somebody who's hitting you on the head all the time, and you say, no, I've got to be more patient. This is crazy. You don't have to do this. Why would the universe give you such a job? You do. So there is a bit, sometimes, we over exaggerate the need, like the universe is giving you this as a gift. It's totally arrogant. Why would they want to do that? I mean, why would it take, for, I've been in this beating on the head for 25 years. 25 years? Why would you want to spend 25 years to try and like something which is just naturally unlikable? What is there to learn about that? So Papaji is right again. Of course, some pain, some difficulties will come, but routine pain and difficulties, no, leave it. There must be some common sense, no? Something is constantly. So every time you put your hand, you get burnt in the fire. You say, oh, I've got to keep going until I can put up with the pain. Why would you want to do this? There are simpler things, easier way to learn something. So I would say, don't put yourself through all this trouble. You are working as a teacher, a substitute teacher is good. Then maybe let somebody else substitute you. Yeah? I often feel very strong aversion to the students' behavior. I would not want to work with any student, even when it's come to Satsang, and their behavior is not right. Even one guy came to Satsang to see me at my house in London, and he was like this. He's sitting in my arms like this. Mooji, so could you tell me about the Absolute? So I told him, no. Your wrong body language. Your body language is not good. I wonder if you follow. Your attitude, your body language is not good. You know, what is like you pass me a spliff. That's your body language. I'm not here for this. I'm not here with you for this. Yeah, somehow, when you come to such in so many questions you've asked in life, foolish question. But now you're asking a question to take you beyond all sorrow. And your attitude is like, yeah, just let me have it, baby. No, it's not. So I would not encourage anyone to be in an environment where there are people around you whose behavior doesn't show any sign of respect or any sign of, you know, sort of an urge for anything good, and that you have to tolerate this. For what? What is the good of it? You know, you work your heart out, and they'll still, at the end of the day, they spit in your face. They call you big old softy, get out of here. Why would you do it? So it's not for you. Move over and be substituted by somebody who really fancy themselves. I'll tackle on these students. Or someone who is genuinely brought there by the consciousness. And find something that pleases your heart. At 72, it's time to relax a little bit. You don't put yourself through more suffering again. I would like some help to get unstuck in a matter regarding abuse. I grew up with a father who was silently abusive, so I learned how to be distant and protect myself, being aware, never sleeping without underwears, very light sleep, putting noisy toys behind the door when I went to sleep. And in this space I grew up, sometimes seeing him abusing my close friends and ignoring me. There were a lot of fun moments too, but always some level of stress was there. There's a lot of love towards him and a lot of hate too. Now he is an old, sick man, and his situation is not good at all. And it is showing me how much love there is towards him. I see he was a sick man and never had love for anybody. His own birth was a result of rape. There is now forgiveness, deep respect, and immense gratitude for him caring for me as much as he could. He gave me all the love he could give, always. Once you said that sometimes when you are going up the 5th step, your body still remembers some kind of reflex. I can say that there are many 5 steps in this body. And a very strong one is when I see man and woman with strong sexual or seductive energies. It is like a bodily reflex, completely involuntary. There is just hate and disgust. Sometimes there is a wish that the whole world would take the pressure off this sexual seductive energy and be in a more peaceful space. I don't know what I am asking here, because at this moment I don't feel any space inside. And there is deep mistrust, unwillingness and pain. But something does reach out and ask for your help. Anya from Poland. It's a difficult one. About this 5th step, I remember I have to share with you, because it is something that happened for me also. That there was one time that we grew up in very much a Christian house, so I grew up in this type of space. And at the time when my life was taking such a huge change come over me, and I was exploring like a new being again. All the ways that I'd learned and so on was under some radical transformation for me. It was a very exciting time in my life. But there is something newborn about it. And when Jesus Christ spoke and said, you have to be newborn, like you were born again, there is something very truthful about this type of expression. But at first my mother was very happy, because she always wanted her children, and she has quite a few, to come into the faith. She totally loved Christ. So she totally wanted everybody to come into this faith. So when this change had come over me, and there was so much discovering the Christ inside my heart also. But also some changes were going on. It was kind of, I felt to grow my beard and to grow my hair and this type of stuff. And this was not the look. She was saying, what's happening with you? What's all this hair? Are you a Rasta man, or what's happening with you? And I said, well, I don't know, I just feel like this. And then also the company I was keeping and all this type of stuff. So she became like, it was even worse than before. And then what happened, one day I was in my room. My mother had just been visiting. She's now in Jamaica, but she was visiting England every now and again. She'd come and spend some time in England, where she has many friends and many people from her church. And she happened to be visiting, and she was giving me a hard time. So one day, she called me down from my room. Come. So I came down, and she gave me the Bible. And she said, could you read from this thing? So I found it. And I started to read, because we were used to that. Sometimes your parents would call you, read from John 3:16, or for God so loved the world. So she called me, read this passage, and I read the passage and reading the passage. And it was, about Sodom and Gomorrah and this thing, and how this city was destroyed because there's all these people had really strayed from the truth and become very wicked and evil, and God sent an angel to destroy. But at first I was reading it very detached, because I was doing something upstairs. And so I just felt, I would just read it mechanically. It was a long time since anybody asked to read like this. But it was somehow, something felt very natural, and I read this thing. And then I was finished, and I said, oh, okay, close it, put it back down. And she says, thank you. And then somehow I'm going back up to my room to do what I was doing before. And I was going up the steps, about the 5th step. Suddenly, like this, something arose inside my heart so powerfully. Like in that instant of a second, everything came together. Like my mother had asked me to read something, but there was a lot of judgment in this text. But at the time I was not thinking, I was thinking, la 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 la. But suddenly, like this, exploded inside, and such a rage came inside that you could have just asked me something, but you put all your judgments and stuff in it, and said this, and suddenly, this thing, and then I found myself running back into the room, and I picked up my, why did you ask me to read this thing? I said this. I was on fire, you know. Why did you ask me to read this thing? And she went, oh, well, I want to. I said, no, why you asked me to read this thing? Why this particular thing? She was, well, I don't know what is going on in your life. I see all these people, all these strange people, and I felt so crushed like this. It was very, very powerful. It was a turning point also in my life. It would end up in a very beautiful thing later. But after this time, some big change came. I began to speak with my mother because actually she was very versed in the Bible, biblical knowledge. But funny enough, I saw I was I. From many things growing up I remember. And so I started to challenge some of the views that she would express, very, very throwaway views, and I started to challenge them inside. But rather than being angry, I just responded to this. And I found that she didn't have such a bite after all. That she was very humble, very open, because on one occasion, you know, she said something very dismissive about another group of Christians. And I said to her, Mom, one moment. If Jesus was here in this room, do you think he would be pleased to hear you say what you just said? And she said, oh, what did I say? And I told her, but you said all these people are going to hell. She said, I said that? Oh no, he would not be happy. So when something changed in my heart, I felt very, very, oh my God, there's something open, and something changed. And then after this, my relationship with my mother became very beautiful, very soft, very open. All the fear and the frustration went away. However, after all these years, even now, if I'm running up some steps, about the 5th step, something goes. No problem. No problem in my heart with my mother. Everything is resolved. A much better relationship than I've ever had. But still on that 5th step or so, whether I'm thinking about it or not, just going in any country, in the United States, or going up somewhere, Eiffel Tower, whatever it is there. Okay? What is that thing? Nothing. Now it's nothing. It's some kind of programming inside your psyche or something. Don't worry about it. Coming back to this letter. Once you said that sometimes when you're going up the 5th step, your body still remembers some kind of reflex is there. I can say that there are many 5th steps in this body. And a very strong one is when I see man and woman with strong sexual or seductive energies. It is like a body reflex, completely involuntary. There's just hate and disgust, because it triggers a memory of something that hurt you when you were a child, you see. And for Anya, I say, this thing can be there, but now it must not carry the weight of how it felt. You're not a child anymore. And something, if you have been watching satsangs with me, obviously, then somehow it must be speaking through all these layers of conditioning. You're discovering something which is not a conditioning. And the power of that recognition, that realization, is enough, actually, to neutralize the impact of earlier impressions made. This is why I said you don't have to change anything even. Because in the light that comes out from your pure self, it will somehow neutralize the effects of these things. But don't I keep on identifying with this sense of person, because that person does not exist. It's an old memory. It's like a ghost now. You see. And you can say, yes, but you know, it's still alive in me, and all these things still coming up for me and so on. But I don't want to tackle that. I just want to tell you, but you are aware of all of this. You're aware of past, you're aware of the sense of future, you're aware of pain, you're aware of joy, you're aware of abuse, you're aware of release, you're aware of all these things. But you who are aware of all these things, you're not caught in the bubble of those memories, if you care to look. Pay attention to yourself now. Be the awareness you are, rather than the stories that or the events that seem to have occurred inside the bubble of consciousness. Give more attention to this. But there's opposition coming from forces and energies within yourself, because there are forces inside us that seem to work to keep your attention fixated upon things that hurt you, or things that you feel like, you know, you want justice for some things. You see, you want recognition about some things. You want to justify some things. And so these things keep you, attached to negative states of being. There must be the willingness to look, because many things that happen in life that could be considered to be terrible experiences have contributed to great wisdom emerging inside many beings. Many people, they don't grow wise out of beautiful moments. They don't. And if anyone was given, if you were given the power to design the life you think is best for you, it would not compare with the life that is unfolding by the grace of nature. Now, you may disagree, but I will tell you, you would not willingly choose any experience which is uncomfortable for you. You will choose only the sugar-coated experiences, and you would not grow. You would not be enriched. You would not grow with the grit and the power that is necessary to somehow transcend the fickle tendencies of the mind. So begin to show gratitude for your life. It doesn't matter if you feel at the moment, I have no reason to be grateful. You have every reason to be grateful. If you have eyes that really look and see, I say, you are sometimes so busy complaining that you've got no shoes, and you see someone who's happy with one leg, but still you don't see. You say, oh, at least I can walk, at least something. In this sense, when I say, start saying thank you to existence. Don't say for what. That voice inside you, don't believe this voice. Just say thank you. Thank you that I can have the joy of experiencing, that I can exercise my powers of discernment or discrimination. Thank you that I have the ability to contemplate myself. Thank you that I can enjoy through the senses. Say thank you, like this. You see? And this will heal many hurts, will overcome many things. Because no matter how many things have happened to you, your life, your existence has value. So this is one thing I would say. Stop looking to the past and stop feeling that the past was even true. This is a difficult one, because people think, hold on, because at least nobody can take that away from you. The past is not necessarily true. It is also things that has been enriched by our own projections also. It is not necessarily true. But many things, truths and untruths at the human level, we create them. They are not inherently so. So I would want to say like that. Now look what it's done now. That you're not able to look at certain situations in life. You feel deeply uncomfortable, because still this idea is still alive in you. Still, every time you see something, it triggers the whole pains, and so you feel bound by some memory like this. This is why I say, you must immerse your attention in Satsang. It is the one medicine for everything. the universal balm itself. You see, and don't keep paying attention. The mind wants to go back. It wants evidence. I see, I've got evidence. This thing happened. And what has this evidence ever done for you that caused you grief and sorrow? So it's time to go beyond the evidence and look at the evidence of your own reality. Immerse yourself in satsang. Not to escape from the mind, at a certain point, just to realize the truth. Because you will again need to use your mind. This is why I say there's nothing to destroy. When you see the unreality of a certain thing, it loses its power. I don't know what I am asking here, because at this moment I don't feel any space inside. Of course not, because it's all taken up with these images, you see. And there's deep mistrust, unwillingness, and pain. But something does reach out and ask for your help. All this can change. All this can change. There's one thing I'll tell you. No matter how much your mind seemed to be full of claustrophobic with painful memories and so on, all this can change. Why? Because it's not true, in fact. It is not true. It's not truth. What is true about it is presently you feel like that. What is great about you is that the wonderfulness of consciousness that somehow is always pure, like the wind. It can carry the smell of lavender or of poo, but the wind has no smell. It is not tarnished by anything. Your consciousness is like that. Beloved Mooji, can the consciousness speak to us through dreams? Of course it can. Consciousness manifests as dreams also. This whole thing is a dream. I say every day we wake up from the dream state. But to be fully free, we must wake up also from the waking state. Is it the mind trying to get back power? Let's talk about dream. Can the consciousness speak to us through dreams? Is it the mind trying to get back power? When I have dreams about satsang, it feels very confusing when I wake up. The Sangha are there in the dream, and I feel I am being guided. I read that your own Master Papaji saw Krishna and other gods. If a Sangha member was talking to me in the waking state, I wouldn't say, "Oh, you're just a dream." I would listen. Is it different in the dreaming state? Please help me. My heart burns with gratitude. Kananu. Sometimes you may experience something in a dream state, and it can have a deep significance also. It can be very informative. But very often, you have dreams, don't hold on to anything. Sometimes people are disappointed because they ask me, I had this kind of dream, I dreamt that somehow I was walking upside down in life. What does it mean? I said, it means in your dream you was walking upside down. It's not that, oh, this means you have somehow gone to heaven. And the mind wants to make up all these things and give so much meaning. And to that extent, it keeps this complexity, always this air of complexity. When we meet a human being, there should be an enormous spaciousness in your presence. You shouldn't be cluttered. You shouldn't be sort of like meeting a flea market on legs. You are meeting somehow, and there's a space in you. There's a space in you. And something inside us is completely attracted to that spaciousness. Because where that space is, there's a silence there. There's a joy there. There's a peace there. There's a love there. And these are the natural attraction for the human soul. Somebody should not be attracted to you because you're rich or because you're famous. No, it should be attracted because you're full of peace and joy and openness and compassion. That's the real attraction. But we seem to have lost sight of that somehow. Sangha there in the dream, and I feel I'm being guided. I read that your own master saw, Babaji saw Krishna and other gods, yes. If a Sangha member was talking to me in a waking state, I wouldn't say, oh, you're just a dream. I would listen, of course, it's fine. It is good to listen to the Sangha. Is it different in the dreaming state? Yeah, you may listen in the dreaming state also. In a way, it's all kind of dreaming. I don't like to say this because nobody believes. Nobody think, well, this is really, that was a dream. I'm so happy I'm back to reality. Dear Mooji, I've been through about 6 weeks of intense suffering. You see, when you have 6 weeks, when you have intense suffering, you remember every moment. 6 weeks. But when you have intense joy, you don't remember anything. I had 3.5 weeks of pure joy. Because in real joy, there's timelessness. Yes. When there's suffering, there's definitely time. Look when you're enjoying how the time flies. When you're suffering, how slow. Anxiety, intense fear at times, and several moments that have really shaken me. I have had enough of the past and need help to shift through to the light burning inside. My mother has been listening to Mooji for a long time now, and we practice Mooji's teachings as a family. I only really started listening to your talks over the last 6 weeks. I do not want to live a lie anymore. I would like to welcome the truth of life into every moment, increase my confidence, and move forward with life. I do not want the stories of anxiety or fear to move forward with me anymore. Thank you so very much for everything you have given me. I really enjoy your talks and appreciate the time and effort you give to helping our world. Luke Cornish. Very nice, Luke. Sometimes, you know, when you have been through a kind of detox, and during that detox, a lot of unpleasant sensations may come, even a physical detox. If you're fasting or going through some detox, you may find that little bumps start to come on your face, little pussy things, not very nice looking. So if you're going on such a detox, don't set up any dates with anybody. And so you can just be inside and look ugly for a while, then you won't mind, because something knows that, you know, my system is just purging, and it will pass, isn't it? Why? Because it will pass, you know that, isn't it? It will pass. So, what's the point of going into a detox and end up looking like Dracula, and it doesn't pass? Then nobody wants to go. He says, no, sorry, thank you. I just carry on and do it. What's the truth? It will pass. Everything pass, isn't it? So also when you come in a retreat or something and you're going in satsang, it's going to bring up a lot of suppressed energies and painful things going to come. But what? It will pass. It will pass. But when they come up, there's a feeling, oh my God, it's eternal. It's eternal. Oh my God, I can't live like this. How can I live? I say, please, shut up. It's okay. You're not doing anything. You're simply just somehow learning to just leave and let things be. And somehow pay attention to your own self, which is a stillness here, in whose presence all this stuff, some heavy clouds are passing through. Great shaking is taking place in the body. But they're all just tourists. All these sensations, they are only passing through. There's just some traffic going. Don't identify with anything. Beloved Mooji, Namaste. When I contemplate on who I am, who am I, there is peace and silence felt in me. I used to believe this is the answer. This is who I am. But you say this peace and silence can also be perceived. So it's not who I am. At this point, and with the question, can the perceiver be perceived, I always feel lost, stuck, frustrated. With this question, I feel like I'm coming to a door which is closed. What to do? Should I forget about that question for the time being and just pray for clarity and freedom? In love and gratitude, Jayita. Good question. When I contemplate on the question, who am I? There is peace and silence felt in me. I used to believe, I'm going over the letter now, I used to believe this is the answer. This is who I am. This peace and this silence. Do I ask you to reject peace and silence? No. It is, as I said, it is the perfume of being. Peace and silence is there. But there's also the perceiving of peace and silence. What is perceiving peace and silence? It doesn't say, oh, reject peace. No, it says just go beyond now. There's the awareness of peace and silence. What is aware of peace and silence? Then you must not try and imagine anything. First, the fact is there's awareness even of peace and silence. I used to believe this is who I am. But you say, this peace and silence can also be perceived. So it is not who I am. You see? It is not who I am. At this point, and with the question, can the perceiver be perceived, I always feel lost, stuck, and frustrated. I said, don't give up. Because now the feeling of lost, stuck, and frustrated is also perceived, isn't it? Don't panic. These are not a sensation moving. First there was joy and peace, and then the question, but who is perceiving this? Then suddenly stuck and frustration and the feeling of lost is come. But also this is also perceived. I said perceive but don't identify. You see? With this question I feel like I'm coming to a door which is closed. That is also perceived. Isn't it? There's something that is not caught in the bubble of that observation. Isn't it? Please follow me as I speak. No? And you can find the answer right here. Of course your mind would rather sometime be paying attention to that olive tree over there. Yeah, because he doesn't want you to hear this question. Because this question could what? Just set you free. So it shows you, hey, banana, this banana looks very nice. When you're about to find out the very source of the universe. You want a banana? Oh yes, that's very nice. Have you got an orange? Boom, you're gone. Isn't it? How many times? At this point with the question, can the perceiver be perceived? Can the perceiver be perceived? What is this question? Why is it? It's the most powerful question. The perceiver is perceiving lots of stuff. And if it stays as a perceiver of stuff, can keep on. You cannot run out of stuff to perceive. What is the point of observing? The point of observing is that at some point you come to recognize, but all of this is impermanent. It comes and goes. That is the crux of it. It cannot just be observed for the sake of observing. 6 months later you're still observing. Right? The whole world is a movie. No, there must be a point. The point is that you come to see that, wait a minute, all that I see just appears and disappears somehow. And that is perceived. And that is fundamental observation. Then the question comes, can that which is perceiving everything, can it also be perceived? Then for the first time, the attention has to turn around, isn't it? Can that which is perceiving, can that be identified? Can it be perceived? And then the mind is going to try and come in and says, oh, let's see, let's try and work it out. But even if the mind comes in, that is also perceived. This is the most powerful question, because it doesn't give you an answer. It shows you that you are the answer. Who are you? Actually do it. There are many people, some of them write to me, I think one of the letters are here. I don't want to read the letter, because it's these people who call themselves like a neo-Advaitists or something, and they are full, many of them are sort of like full of lot of intellectual understanding, but they don't have the vibration of one who has understood in the heart. It's like wine tasting spirituality. You taste a lot of wine, but you never get drunk. But you can write a lot about wines. Oh, this one is very fruity. Very dry with a subtle taste of... No, I rather meet somebody who's drunk. When I get drunk, I want to feel what drunk is. That's the whole point. I don't want to hear your report about, oh, and so technical and so precise. No, we don't need precise. We want someone who, you know, okay, maybe the idea of getting drunk is not most appealing. But I'd rather that people, in India, they say, we'd rather meet the saints rather than scholars. Saints rather than scholars. We don't want to be educated people. We want someone who is the embodiment of the truth. You understand? But in the West, very often we venerate knowledge and the people who can talk and oh yeah, but it's not this, but it's more like that. And like this. We get caught up in that nonsense. I want someone who somehow has taken the wine of real understanding, drink it down, be drunk in the Holy Spirit. Yeah, not alcohol. So the question, can the perceiver be perceived, is not for intellectual fascination. It is really to somehow come to a finality, a question that's going to burn other questions. Always you're in the position of the perceiver. But this perceiver, is it a person? He said, but no, but the person also can be perceived. What perceive even the person? Can this be perceived? Can it be identified? Is it something tangible? Does it have a form? Is it Indian? I mean, does it live in a cave? Is it a man or is it a woman? Is it a god? Is it a demon? And you can go through inside and look and say, no, it's none of these things, because they can be perceived. Can anything catch the perceiver? And if something could catch the perceiver, then that would be a deeper perceiving. This question does not leave you with any intellectual satisfaction, but as direct experience. So I always feel lost, stuck and frustrated. Then don't abandon your inquiry prematurely. Something wants to come and say, look, you know, I can't get anywhere, I just get stuck, I get stuck with this question. I say, but being stuck is also a sensation being perceived. Oh, Mooji, there you go again. I say, yeah, that is also being perceived. Mooji is at it again, he's also perceived. Then they want to kill me. Why this question? With this question, I feel like I'm coming to a door which is closed. That is also perceived. And it's not a riddle that keeps going. No, that's not at all. If there was a riddle that keeps going, that would also be perceived. There's something, there's a gist in what is being pointed. Get it. There's a gist there. It's the most simple thing. It's pure innocence. Beyond even the concept of innocence. It is here. It is like missing what is obvious. It is always here. But the mind only knows how to work with things. It's the instrument for measuring variety, or for interpreting, or projecting. But when it meets the emptiness, it cannot measure anything. So then it starts to say, yeah, but there's nothing there, there's nothing there. We said, but even the mind saying there's nothing there is also perceiving. And someone with the intelligence of the heart is going to get it. You have to, somebody here must get it. What to do? Should I forget about that question for the time being and just pray for clarity and freedom? Your praying for clarity and freedom is perceived in it. And someone goes, this is frustrating. This is just so frustrating. They can't come to the end of something. It's also perceived. So at this time to leave town, I don't want to see that Mooji guy anymore. He just completely confused my mind. Something. Or you come and you say, thank you. Thank you. I had a lot of fight from my mind that didn't want to look at this. It was doing everything it can do to distract and to rubbish this question. When I went in front of my own master, you see, something inside, I recognized this is a very powerful being. But it was still denying. Because Papaji sometimes tell a story which was just so ridiculous. My mind says, but if he was a real master, he wouldn't say like that. You know, I mean, okay, good, you got him now. He's not a real master. So now you can relax, because you don't have to awaken now. You can relax now. The mind plays all these things to try and justify. It cannot be true, because he made a big mistake there. Now, a Buddha would not do it. Ramana would not do this mistake. Well, how do you know? There were people in Ramana's time who was also criticizing Ramana. Look at you know, sitting there in this big sofa in a nappy. What? This guy cannot be taken seriously? So there will always be something that tries to rubbish the truth. Deny. I know it very well. Did I read this one? This one? Where did this come from? Dear Mooji, the mind makes it so complicated. It has an answer, or it wants answers for the questions that it comes up with. Beyond that is I, the I that is constant as far as I can remember this lifetime. Since childhood, the one that does not change for anybody or anything. Bless you. That witnesses and nothing happens to it. The one that remembers to follow the quest for truth, and now there's no quest, just being, without importance to self or others. My question is about psychic abilities, and where do they belong? Is it just another distraction? Being able to move in time, another distraction? Higher energy field, synchronicity, other dimensions, still distractions? Are they the construct of the mind? Much love. Ivona. First, find out who you are. And all these can be enjoyed as the pastime of consciousness. Nothing wrong with it. Who creates all these things in the first place? Who creates all these things? Not consciousness. I can't say yoga destruction. Yeah, it can be. If you're using it as a substitute to avoid looking at yourself, it can be a distraction. Maybe even prayer is a kind of distraction. Maybe it is an avoidance. If the moment is to simply look at something and you're avoiding it. There's a time, even bhajans, mantras, Om Namah Shivaya, can be a distraction. If there is a moment to look at something which is right here, which is not a chant, it's not a prayer, it's not a practice, it simply is. And something goes, yeah, but that's just too deep. Om Namah Shivaya. I said, okay, carry on with your mantra, it's fine, it's fine. Can't expect more from you than that appeals to your heart, it's also fine. Psychic abilities, my question about psychic abilities and where do they belong? Is it just another distraction? Psychic abilities or manifestations are also a part of consciousness in play. And they can be, the important thing is whether they are expressions that the ego takes over or whether they are pure expressions. Some beings, not only awakened beings, there are some practices that can somehow express metaphysical manifestations. Doesn't mean you're awake. Not necessarily. And then sometimes also, one time when somebody asked Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi, not Satya Sai Baba, older Sai Baba of Shirdi, one of his close attendants, noticing that the master would often, answer people's requests and prayers. They would ask for, Babaji, I'm not able to have a child since last, we've been trying for 6 months, 6 years or whatever. And please help us, we would like a child. Okay, in February you will have a girl. And it comes to pass, it happens. He said, my God, can these things happen? And so his attendant said to him, Babaji, why you keep on giving these people who just, all they want is these things? Why you keep on giving in to them? He said, I give them what they want, hoping that one day they will want what I have to give them. So consciousness play like this also. This is a beautiful manifestation of consciousness. But it's not always needed. It's not needed metaphysical manifestations. But it can happen. And it happens very easily. Even here it happens. But we are not promoting them. Sometimes I don't think it's good that people hear about these things because a part of their mind is very attracted to this type of stuff. And it's not necessarily guiding you to freedom. One more I read. I think it's enough for now. Mooji, I so want and need the answer to this inquiry. Today I see a result inside my heart that wants to open. I am thankful today to be able to quiet myself and be in touch with this knowing. Master of inquiry, you have said many times to stay in the thing that never comes and goes. Me, that will always remain my true self. I am confused because I stand here at the door of truth in my heart and you hold the key. I love the still space inside me that is the infinity of peace I can visit. The space that is always there at my command. So why is it that my ego as well is also there on the other side of this door, always waiting for me to return? It never really goes either. Please give me this key so I can unlock the door to the permanence of my true self, if it is my time. Very peacefully yours, Linda. Remember, I think Abe can verify this story. It says that a great saint, I told of this, a great saint was meditating, and in his deep meditation he found himself at the door of God, and he knocked, and the voice from inside says, "Who is it?" And he said, "It is I, my Lord." The voice says, "Go away. There's no room for two in here." He says, "My God, God sent me away." Then he was very shuffled up, and he returned to his meditation. My God, I feel so rejected, so rejected. And he goes very deeply rejected. Who is rejected? Again, he found himself at the door of God. Who is it? It is you, my Lord. Aha. Okay? So you want a key. With this key, you must leave yourself outside. How are you going to leave yourself outside? Many years ago, I used to study martial arts. No, and those are the great Japanese master, Sensei Suzuki, and they would tell us, when you come inside the dojo, you come empty, leave yourself outside. But I don't think any of us really understood. We had a sense, you try and leave yourself outside. But you came in, kind of like with yourself outside, but still in. They try to teach you to be empty, no mind. We kind of have a sense, no mind. Okay, no mind. But there is mind thinking no mind. You see, like this. You never quite got it. But it still had some effect, because somewhere inside accepted and trusted my master. You see? He said, leave yourself outside. Come inside empty. But we couldn't do it. How you leave yourself outside? It just had a poetic beauty about it, and something felt, you know what? I think he has left himself in Japan, actually. Because he just seems to be just here. Like you see him, he's just here. You see? And when he is sparring, he just seems just to be here. It's fine. But he's just here. But you're all over the place. You see? So only later I came to realize the fullness of this. Leave yourself outside. Then now I don't have to leave myself outside. Now it becomes meaningless. You see? Master of Inquiry, you have said many times to stay in the thing that never comes and goes. Listen now, listen. To me, that will always remain my true self. Okay. I am confused because I stand here at the door of truth in my heart and you hold the key. This is an idea. I am at the door of truth. If you've got an idea, why not you just go inside? Why do you want to be at the door? It's an idea. If you're going to have an idea, get the best idea then. Why only at the door? Have a bit of confidence. And on top of it, I have the key. I'm only aware of it now. So this is something I want to say. The key is that I can guide you out of this misunderstanding, you see, because we are holding on to some concepts, and the concepts are behaving like poison inside your being. They are creating the sense of separation in a way, but at the same time promising you that you're getting closer. You see, you cannot get closer to truth. You cannot get closer to truth. You can only awaken to the truth that you are. I love the space. I love the still space inside me that is the infinity of peace. I can visit. I don't want to visit. If I am a visitor to myself, I can't stay. I can't stay. I don't even want to be a tenant. Understand? Because a tenant also cannot stay. I have to be that. Then it cannot go or stay. The space that is always there at my command. Whose command? Who commanded space to be there? You cannot, the space is there at your command. So, why is it that my ego as well is also there? Exactly. Because you have made a perfect situation for your ego. So when you're sitting in your bliss, the ego. Ego. We're very close. I was really there. disturb it. Done it. Why is it that my ego as well is also there on the other side of this door, or also on the other side of the door, waiting for me to return? It has faith in you. It knows you will return. So this kind of ego will even tell you, listen darling, go to Satsang. I'll be outside waiting. Because you will come out. And you go to a Satsang and don't come out. This is good. It never really goes either. Please give me this key so I can unlock the door to the permanence of my true self. Now, there may be a stage when someone would speak like this, and my advice may be different. You know? But right now, I feel you can cope with my words. There is no key. There is no door now. And there is no inside or outside. Can you bear my words? There was a time I cannot say this thing to you, because somehow your consciousness would not accept it. It was too much immersed in personhood to accept something so innocent and so simple. But now I can take the risk, I can tell you. There's no key, there's no next step, there's no door, there's no walls, there's no inside and there's no outside. So where are you now? Then the mind says, lost. Very peacefully, yes. You see? Very peacefully, yes. But it will not be peaceful for very long if you keep this identity as this sort of person. This is the only thing. This oscillation between being in and out, being the self and then being the person. And then you forget that those oscillations are watched. Initially, it seems that it's watched by something that's watching them. But then gradually, this watching just fades, and the something is only aware of itself. And then there's no watching. And when there's no watching, all this will vanish. You see? So, Linda, I think this question has been answered today. You want a bit more? We can go home or what? Namaste, Mooji and friends. My name is Alexander. I live in Belarus. Immediately ask your pardon for my English. I do not have money and I can't get to Satsang. This letter is the only chance to be heard by Mooji. Help me, please. Not so long ago, I found myself in a terrible monster. Not long ago, I found myself in terrible monster. It was the mind. Okay. That's monster enough. All of a sudden, I started to watch it constantly whispers something to me. At that moment, I realized that I'm playing by the rules of the mind. I was locked up in the mind. I learned to turn off the mind. In my head, there is a complete silence and tranquility. There's only an observation. Observation of what is happening around me, but not, as you call it, the supervision of myself. Maybe I do not understand what it means to watch yourself. Okay. Unfortunately, I am in a dead end and do not know what to do next. Yeah. So the crux of it is here. You're observing what is happening around you, but not as you call it, the supervision of myself, whatever. I did not use this expression. Maybe I do not understand what it means to watch myself. Okay, it's true. The term was in, this is the text, but not the context. Maybe I might have used this expression in a particular context. How to observe yourself. At least try. You see? Maybe I say, at least try to observe yourself. Then you try, and what can you observe as yourself? Your moods, your sensations, your breath, your body, your thoughts, like this, the feelings. All these are observable. But where is the self? Is there self? Then somehow I said, show me yourself. Can yourself be observed? Thoughts, emotions, sensation, the sense of time, objects, feelings, all these things are observable. But is there a self that is observable? Then for this you say you try to create an image in the mind of yourself, because we always carry a kind of psychic photograph of ourselves. You have a nice sense that I am this. What exactly are you? So even in turning your attention, because of this question, itself is something powerful. It's destroying and burning a lot of notions that we have which are not true. And as they get burnt, there's a space being revealed now. And in that space is great joy. There's a silence, there's a space, a joy, a peace is there. And probably love also emerging from that place. And that is what I say. Unfortunately, I'm in a dead end and do not know what to do next. This is not true. You're not in any dead end. That's just another thought, another habit of thinking. I'm stuck. What it means you're stuck. How can you be stuck? You watch a sensation of stuckness because your mind projects you want to be a certain place and there's an inability to reach that state or that place. So you say, I'm stuck. But can awareness be stuck? Well, the sense of stuckness comes and soon it's gone. Another sensation will come and another one and another. But the awareness in which they come, this is not coming and going. This is constant, like space. We have to be clear about this. You see, nothing is wrong with you. Dear Mooji, I discovered you on YouTube. Your satsangs, your speaking are a lullaby for awakening. Thank you. But lullaby to speak now. Lullaby for awakening is quite nice way. Lullaby into awakening. Thank you so much. I would love to come and see you and be in your presence. I have a question. My husband and I were happy for 20 years. My husband and I, supreme. I felt supported on my spiritual path, even though my husband did not like that path. There was much joy and sharing and caring. He has been physically unwell for some time, a lot of pain. A while ago also he had a mild stroke. And now, more recently, through medications, his personality has altered. Everything much more extreme, judgmental, hostility. He himself believes he sees with clarity now. He does not accept my path. He is often angry with me. There is a lot of conflict between us. I am reacting to him all the time. I hope he will get better. Maybe he will not. All this challenges my identity as a wife, a carer, a spiritual seeker, a person who is attached to being good person, who wants to do the right thing. But more than this, Mooji, I want to wake up in this lifetime. I want to know myself as already awakened. I hope also that if I accomplish this, that will be my best gift to him as well. My question is frightening to me to ask it. What if I cannot accept the answer? My question is, what is the best way to awaken? In the relationship or not? Love and gratitude from Avital. This is a good question. We'll finish on this one today. For now, and the others I'll pick up and try and get to the other day. This is someone you always wanted to do the right thing. Maybe you want also, in spite of the conflict, I'm reacting to this to my husband all the time. I hope he will get better, but maybe he will not. All this challenges my identity as a wife, a carer, a spiritual seeker, a person who is attached to being a good person. Many of us know these type of things. You want to be the best person. You want to be perceived also by others, the people that you care about, to be a caring, loving, supportive, present, reliable, you know, almost taken for granted person. Okay? Who wants to do the right thing. Of course, this is a natural thing. But more than this, Mooji, I want to wake up in this lifetime. This is what I'm hearing. I want to wake up in this. And the sooner the better. I want to know myself as already awakened. I hope also that if I accomplish this, that will be my best gift to him as well. Don't worry about that. Don't awaken for anybody. Yeah? Just find out who you are. Leave the rest to existence. So my question is frightening for me to ask it. What if I cannot accept the answer? My question is, what is the best way to awaken? In the relationship or not? Then you have to leave everything, including the idea you have of your relationship. Just leave it aside. Be willing to leave everything aside, including the idea you have of who you are. Enter the room of your being without anything. For one moment you have to do it. Sometimes I say, in the same way, you don't go to a restaurant and carry your own menu. Then if you came to life carrying a whole list of things that you want life to give you, just come and move in your life. It may seem a painful thing because you have this love for someone to whom you're attached, and you want that if I'm free, I want them to be free as well. Well, suppose they're not going to be free. Will you deny your own freedom? No, this would be a very foolish thing. So you must go for freedom. Each one must, not all the fruits, even on the same tree, they don't ripen at the same time. So don't worry. Each thing will happen in its right time. So you go for full realization. And it's not a big thing. Don't make the mind into a big thing. It's a big realization, this big thing with spotlights. It's not like that. Follow the guidance. You say, I discovered you on YouTube. In fact, on YouTube is also, everything I'm speaking here is also on YouTube. If you can come here, we'll find a way that you can come, because also being here has its own power. Your satsangs, your speakings are a lullaby for awakening. Thank you so much. I would love to come and see you and be in your presence. My question, my husband and I were happy for 20 years. We're happy for 20 years. I felt supported on my spiritual path, even though my husband did not like that path. There was so much joy in sharing and caring. What happens, let me ask you about these things, because sometimes even in the same spiritual community, sometimes you don't get on. with your partner, because their own personality, they won't give up. They won't, or you won't give up. They're still fighting. Something's holding on to your sense of me. You see? Now, how are you going to awaken to that? A relationship can help and support and promote unity and harmony. But also it can get in the way. What will make it one way and not the other way? As you say, my husband and I were happy for 20 years. I felt supported on my spiritual path. By what? Even though my husband did not like that path. What supported you then? See? There was much joy in sharing and caring. He's been physically unwell for some time. Lots of pain. A while ago also he had a mild stroke. And now more recently, through medications, his personality has altered. Everything become much more extreme, judgmental, hostility. He himself believes he sees with clarity now. He does not accept my path. How can you accept a path that is bringing your loved one more joy, more light? You know, if you have a love person that you love, and they are practicing spirituality, but every day becoming more miserable, more grumpy, then you say, listen, I don't think this is good for you, man. Unless your grumpiness is a kind of progress. Your grumpiness can be a kind of progress also. How? In what situation? Maybe if all your life your boss had to be nice. But it's not true. You just have to be nice. And then you start to find yourself, you find you're not so nice. So I'm not so nice, actually. I'm not so kind. Everybody, what you want to do? Yes, darling, yes. And then afterward, no. And then you start to feel, but I'm not so nice, actually. I'm not so understanding anymore. And I'm not so patient, okay? And people say, my God, you know, she's falling apart. But inside yourself, you realize, actually, I feel really powerful. I feel good. Now I can say no. I was Miss Yes for so long. And now I am Miss No. Sometimes Miss Maybe. Sometimes Miss Yes. But right now, no feels really powerful. And I don't have to smile all the time. I don't have to smile. I feel like a bit rough. So, in this case, grumpy could be progress, isn't it? You follow. You don't always, sometimes people always try to be, but inside, you know, you're hiding something. So, if sometimes you can be a grumpy Buddha. You can say, but not for long. And then you must outgrow this, because this cannot be a truth. You see, it's just a flavor like that. So much more judgmental. So if you're with someone who somehow is, you can clearly see that they're lying. Many people from here, they go back and they say that I was very afraid to face my family again. You know, because that's what you've been doing. You know, living 6 months in the bush all the time. What have you to show? But they come and say, I'm very surprised, actually. I'm much better. I feel much more peaceful. I have more space. I'm much more understanding. My family likes what has been happening. Not always. Sometimes people go, what are you smiling at? Why are you looking so above? You know, we don't know. So you find someone in your life, you know, who is getting more peaceful, more joyful, more understanding. Why would you criticize unless you are miserable in yourself and you somehow envy them? Some dark part of you wants to pull them down. Because there are people who are like that too. They say, I love you, but they don't want you to so evolve. They want you to stay there, you know, make them sandwich all day. They don't want you to be free. Because freedom means something terrible for them. I mean, you're independent and they can't manipulate you. You see? So you need to reflect a bit. Is this a true relationship? Is there growth here? Then I'm reacting to him all the time. I hope he will get better. This is love, you see. Maybe he will not. This is wisdom. All this challenges my identity as a wife, or a carer, a spiritual seeker, a person who is attached to being a good person. So at least you're beginning to look at these things and begin to take some space away from these notions of having to be a good person, to be a good wife, a good husband, a good carer, a good spiritual seeker, and so on. We have to move on from those notions, not to be defined by it. That's a great freedom already too. And someone who wants to do the right thing. It is understandable, but not to hold on too tight to these things. Don't try to be too good, and don't try to be bad. Try to find yourself. This is it. But more than all of this, Mooji, I want to wake up in this lifetime. This is what I hear. And so you shall. You have to. I want to know myself as already awakened. This is what you heard from this, because I say the truth is always as it is. It's always perfect. And I want to be aware of that, to the extent that I see that the imperfect self was just a dream. It's just a dream. When you realize this, you will also drop the idea of the perfect self. Because if you're walking around thinking you're the perfect self, watch out. But first you have to come to see that this imperfect self is not what is. And what is cannot be called this or that. For the time being we can say it is perfect. But don't go around and start to think, oh, I'm the perfect self. There's a story of one man. He was voted in his town to be the most humble person in the town. But 1 week later they took his medal from him because they saw him in a discotheque with his medal, open shirt. So I hope also that if I accomplish this, that will be my best gift to him as well. It is a very generous feeling and a loving feeling, because of course you would love those that you care about to also experience the joy that you are experiencing. It's a natural thing. But you don't have any power over it. Maybe the one who is more open to you in your awakening. They used to bully you at school. You see? Life is a place like this. You would like your best friend or your daughter or your mother to awaken with you. But they said, nah, rubbish. Okay? And then somehow the one at school used to give you trouble. Somehow you meet now and you say, hey man, what's happening? Like you seem so peaceful person. How did it happen? Because my life is a mess. Talk a little bit and say, really? Next thing you know, they're open to this. So then you have to let this idea go, I don't like you though. I can't really be open with you because I don't like you. You used to. No. So it's a chance for your healing as well. To let go and just be open. Serve the one who is hungry. So this is a very good letter. I think many people can identify with you, Avital. My question is frightening for me to ask. I like that someone takes the risk to put a question that is burning, but something is resisting to find the answer. Ask me a question like this, then give me your B question. Like a question has no risk. This is not good. What if I cannot accept the answer? My question is, what is the best way to awaken? In the relationship or not? So as I leave aside any kind of conditions and say by any means necessary, by any means available, let's come to the truth. If you have this attitude, then you create an opening inside your life. Everything becomes possible. Your very letter is an opening. Your writing and my reading is an opening for you. And just keep saying yes to the truth without asking it to write a contract. Just say, yes, I am open, I am open. I don't know what to expect, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what it is about, I don't know who I am. I don't know if I'm right or ready for this. But something in my heart is saying, yes, please, take me. Take me. This, whatever it is that answers prayers, cannot refuse. What happened to the tea, Satsang? People had tea? They did. I think I should not have asked that. Anybody going back to Lisbon tonight? One? Do I need a ride? One time. by the looks of things, after next week, next satsang will be next Sunday, from the way things are looking. Then I'll be away for some time. We're traveling to Russia for a few weeks and then to London before coming back here. And my encouragement is to put everything you can into this time. Nobody comes here like as an accident. I like to put it like that. Some opportunity is there inside to move more deeply into the place of the true, within your own capacity at the time. Potential is always there, but the capacity will somehow determine how far you move at any given time. But what I can say is the goal is the same, whether it is reached today or another day. But I don't know other days. For me, I say, I am supremely happy because I have no future. It has no meaning for me. Very good. Thank you. Be very safe in where the places you have to go back to and enjoy.